hey, which button should I press for this thing?
Oh, God, here we go.
I have to do it now.
I don't know why Simon thinks this is going to be something we do every episode, but...
So what I like it, but what I
You
really...
like it? Okay.
Well, so what I really want to do is find like a better one to use, but then I realized I've been doing that one for so long.
Bro, please, can you find the DJ siren, please?
For your own good, I should not have access to that. Because it's just going to be just all the time. I'll surprise you with it one day.
All right, perfect.
I almost pulled the trigger on this board from Amazon that's literally just a thing, it's just like a MIDI controller that you can program with, and it's like got 9 different sound effects that I put on there and just surprise you with some of them.
Yo, episode 11.
Yeah, dude.
How you feel, bro?
I feel good.
Yeah, how was your week?
It was good. We shot one of my favorite weddings we've shot in a while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was a couple that we met actually through a... actually, this is interesting. So I was second shooting for our friend Erin, Grace and Art Photography, shout out. And one of her groomsmen ended up reaching out that I think his exact quote was, yo, I was curious if you shot your own weddings because like, bro, I didn't even know you were the photographer for the whole day until I saw you at the front at the church.
And bro, okay, continue. Yeah. I'm just, okay, yeah.
But so, obviously.
I had 2 cameras on me and I'm there the whole day. What do you think I was doing?
I didn't have 2 cameras on me.
Oh, you didn't?
You know how I roll.
Well, disposable camera. That's what you roll.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, but so first thing I did, I reached out to Erin and said, like, hey, because it's kind of like slippery slope if you book a wedding from shooting for someone else.
That is exactly, yeah.
That's something we could talk to our guests about today.
That's something we could talk about.
But I reached out to her. She said, yeah, no problem. And I guess.
Oh, you asked her first?
Oh, yeah, I asked her first before I did anything.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, no problem. So ended up shooting that wedding. Most of the groomsmen from that wedding that I shot 2 years ago were groomsmen in this one.
Okay.
And it was like immediately like, oh, what's up, guys?
Right,
they were all like, oh, dude, you cut your hair. Which was 2 years ago. So I was like,
I remember when you had long hair. That was crazy.
But the groom that I shot initially with Erin, they're great. They have a kid now.
Oh, nice.
Who I met, who was the ring bearer. It was cool, like full circle moment.
Nice, man.
But it was just so much fun, dude.
Yeah, actually, I shot a wedding in New York City.
I saw that
this past weekend. Yeah, it was really nice. Very chaotic, but still very nice.
You know how I knew it was chaotic?
How?
The amount of social media you posted like while it was going on. It was like, all right, we're on our way. Here we go. And then it was like bridal getting ready and then nothing. I was like, oh, guess the day went amok.
Yeah, man. It's just, I don't think couples truly realize that when you get married in New York,
oh yeah,
like I won't say you're limited, but you are limited to like places you can shoot. And in order to go from one place to the next, even though it could be 10 blocks away, it could take you upwards of 20 minutes to get to those 10 blocks.
Yeah. How big was your bridal party?
I'd say like 20 people.
We had the same. It was funny because we had the same in Philly, and I was like, man, it was a tricky day as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about my sister's wedding, and I was like, well, she got married in Manhattan.
Okay.
And then I thought of you. I'm like, ooh, that's rough.
And what made it more tricky is, there were a lot of children involved.
Oh, yeah.
Her daughter is so beautiful, and she's like under 2 years old, and she was part of the wedding. So she was trying to take care of her. She was trying to like make sure the day was going smoothly, even though she had a wedding planner. There were a lot of things going on that if I were to recommend anyone else getting married in New York, try to avoid not bringing children. 1, and then 2. Definitely try to limit how many places you have to go throughout the day. Because we had to drive to Central Park, then we drove to the New York Public Library, we drove to Bryant Park, we drove to St. Patrick's Cathedral, we drove to 420 Lofts and Terrace, whatever it's called, or Midtown Loft and Terrace, and it was just a lot of moving parts, which is sort of draining on the couple.
I think, as someone who has been a first and second time parent, I think when you're a first time parent, you're like, oh, my kid's chill. Like we could totally make this happen. Yeah. And then by the second kid, you're like, we're going to take pictures here and then we're going to pass them off to the nanny or the parents or the grandparents or something like that.
Exactly.
But we have a cool show today. We have our second ever guest, and you and I have been talking about getting this guy on since we started the podcast because I would say he's like one of the top 5 like most fun people to hang around I know, I think. Just in general.
Wait, did I know him before you or you know him before me?
You knew him before me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think he and I might have been friends on Instagram through you.
Okay.
But I ended up second shooting when he was associate shooting for you, I think. We can ask him because I kind of forget.
Yeah.
But I definitely shot with him.
Yeah,
and we had a blast.
Exactly.
But yeah, do you want to introduce him?
Yeah, so the premise of this episode was to kind of give you guys a different outlook on second shooting for weddings, essentially, right? Because Simon and I don't necessarily second shoot a lot, but the person that we have on today, they prefer to second shoot. Like that's what they enjoy doing, and that's what makes them happy. So this person has worked for me, has worked with Simon on occasion, and I'm super excited to bring him on and kind of hear his perspective about second shooting. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Antony.
And we're back. Welcome to this set. I had a buddy come up here recently. He was like, "Oh, it's just sort of like in this big room," and I'm like, "What did you think it was?" He's like, "I thought it was like a little room," and I'm like, "That's the point." But no, we were in a very large space.
What's the illusion?
What's up, bro?
Ooh, fantastic, man.
Yeah?
Thank you guys for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for coming, bro.
Looking forward to being in conversation with you guys.
Yeah, so kind of tell us who you are. What do you do? Where are you from?
Philadelphia, born and raised.
Okay.
Probably been in photography for about, 18 plus years, give or take.
Wow.
Had a very different vision of where I'd be collectively. Thought I'd be in commercial advertising, commercial photography across the board. Interned in all those spaces. Hated every bit of it in terms of the ass kissing you had to do.
We are kindred spirits, my friend.
Oh my goodness. It was just like, this is torturous. So I was very resistant to shooting weddings. I eventually dipped my toe into it and was like, all right, I have the natural cadence to do this effortlessly. So in my track record overall, Ant knows people ask about me when I'm not there.
I love that for you.
I've had situations at weddings where like it's guests that like follow me on Instagram and they're not even a part of the wedding. They're like, "Yo, who's your second shooter today? Is it that guy that I always see on your Instagram?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry."
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Or sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And they're like, "Yes."
Like I'm trying to aim to be like the most requested second shooter like ever. I've made at least
that would actually be pretty baller.
Oh, yeah,
That would be.
Yeah.
Did you? So when you were getting started, did you always know you wanted to go into photography, or was it something that just sort of?
I was 12 years old when I knew.
Damn,
That's awesome. I can tell you exactly where I was. I was in front of my house on my steps. The sun was setting, and I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
The sun was setting.
Yo, it was glorious. It's so specific on mine. It was lovely orange and some little pinks in there. Yo, I was just like, this is it. I want to do anything else.
As two people who didn't know that nearly that early, what was it like? Sort of having a
Bro, I knew when I was like 3 years old.
We did that episode. But what was it like? Because I guess both of us came into it very differently.
Yeah.
And it was something that we started doing for fun. And then it sort of snowballed into something we could actually do for a living. But you knowing, what was that like as far as growing up, sort of pursuing that goal?
Oh my God. Like I made it a point to just research like crazy. I started my own darkroom, built that from scratch. Like I just figured it out. I was like, I just want to do this. And the smell of like Fixer to me, right to this point is just like, yeah, it just takes me back to like that space, that moment. I mean, I was jotting notes, sketching pictures of like images I wanted to do. Like I had like a few like really, like this portrait-based photographers, and I was just like, oh, Dave LaChapelle. I was just like, this stuff is glorious. Like, so I just pretty much dialed in and kept my head down. And I was that photo nerd in school, and I was like, I did the yearbook, and then I worked in a photo lab for 4 years, and then I went to school for photography. I got my associates at Antony Institute for Flowertown or something like that.
Yeah.
Antony Institute in Flowertown. And then I went to Brooks Institute of Photography in California, Santa Barbara for
so you went to school for photo.
Oh yeah.
So as a black boy growing up in Philly, when you told your parents, you know what, I want to be a photographer.
Yeah.
How did they take that?
Cool.
Really?
They were like, all right,
that's great.
Word. If you're going to do this, invest your time. Like this is focus on it. I've gotten ample support from my family. I would not be where I am without.
So here's a question:
their support.
What did your parents do, and were any of them in the arts?
My mom worked in central services at a hospital. So essentially they were in charge of sterilizing equipment and stuff like that. And my dad worked for M&M Restaurant Supply. He had a few jobs over my lifetime, but like he was just like, I think he went to school full time, bartended full time, and like was a father, and like literally like just time absorbed in all that space.
Did either of them ever have any like goals to be in the arts at all?
My dad. My dad was a writer and performer, and he to this day he kind of performs. He's an evangelist minister, so he kind of goes off. He loves monologuing, yo.
So the reason I thought about that when you said your parents were like, "Do it, cool," is because when I was 24 or 5, I ended up very randomly auditioning for like a full-time band and got the gig. And it was like quit my 9 to 5 at Apple and go on the road most days a week. And I remember being not terrified to call my parents. I think I always knew they weren't going to be like, no, but I said that and expecting a little bit of pushback and it was nothing. They were just like, go do it.
That's
because my dad was a musician and wanted to be a professional musician. And his parents said, you can absolutely do that after medical school. So now that he's retired, he's doing that again.
I feel like there's such a, this is crazy because neither one of you are Caribbean, but I feel like when your family comes from like our immigrants,
It makes sense.
it's a whole different like expectation. Like if I were to tell my family at 18, 19 years old, I want to be a photographer, they would have kicked me out of the house. I would have been left to fend for myself.
It makes sense.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's funny because like African families, like Indian families, like Caribbean families, their expectation is like, you got to become a doctor.
Are your parents first generation?
First generation, right off the boat.
Are your parents second generation?
I don't fully know. My dad always goes off with this like saying, my ancestors used to pick cotton in Virginia and the red clays. And like, I'm just like, word. I think that my dad was probably one of the first people in his family to like go through college.
I'm pretty sure my parents were third generation. So it was like first generation, then the second generation is the ones that are like, you need to work hard, get a good job, blah, blah, blah. And then that leaves room a little bit for the next generation to sort of explore, but still like you have to go be a doctor.
I think they fall in that space.
And then my generation was like, oh, you want to be a DJ? Go. Like,
be free. As long as you're happy, and I just want to see you thrive.
It's crazy.
But also, you know, I don't know if it's the same for you guys. Like, you know, financially, like we had a cushion that if that had completely like shit the bed and not worked, like I wasn't completely screwed in any way. But, So that's interesting though.
I love it.
It's crazy. We all come from different paths of lives, but we all have come together into the same type of profession.
Which is why I love the networking events we get to do, like different events, parties and stuff. Because like the people that I meet that are now photographers and videographers and just wedding professionals are just like from such different backgrounds. And it's pretty dope.
I love this job. Like so much.
I wish I could say that. I don't wish I could say, but like you would think it's like, oh, I guess it's easy to be a wedding professional.
Nah.
What do you think is the number one characteristic of people who are good at their jobs in this industry? It doesn't have to be photography. It can be anything.
I think just being personable. I mean, you could get away with being like a shitty photographer, but if you're personable and you can like handle like different groups of people in like a thoughtful way, like you'll be all right. But for me personally, I just like the human aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it for me.
Okay, Nicholas, hold on a second.
What's up?
So this is the Dodge and Burn podcast where we are not politically correct.
Yeah.
So we want you to get spicy. Like the episode title is called Second Shooting, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Oh, there's definitely bad portions of it for sure. But
so we about to go in today, bro.
I'm a positive dude.
Yeah, spill the tea, my guy.
I think it's funny too because Ant's gonna have a better perspective on this because Maggie and I obviously shoot together all the time.
Yeah.
I do some second shooting. We've worked together, but the I'm excited for this one.
Where we go? Oh, where we go? I'm ready. What do you want to know?
Okay, so I think the people like Simon was just asking you. So tell us what in general makes a good and bad second shooter.
Easy.
Okay.
Easy. A good second shooter is going to go into a space and support the studio and people that he's working for.
Okay.
Like, and actively glow the fuck up in terms of their energy, how they're showing up thoughtfully in these spaces. You're gonna be able to kind of like move and shake without being told what to do exactly. Like you just go do this thing, and if the primary shooter needs something captured, I got you. Done. No pushback at all. A bad second shooter is someone that's going to come to your event and market themselves. Like that,
I swear I didn't market myself to get that wedding that we're talking about.
Like I cannot stand. I have referred people who have burnt bridges. Like for people, I referred them, and then they're like, "Yeah, they were going around handing out their cards to like the vendor, the space." I was like, "Whoa, wait, what?" And like never working with that person again. But it's just like you have to really be very mindful. I'm very cognizant. I'm always in a space where I want to uplift the brand that I'm working for. Yeah. Like I do my own weddings too, but it's just like I also like being of service in that way too. So someone that's just gonna say, all right, I got you. What do you need? Yeah. Done. I'm also going to show up with a lot of positive energy. I'm going to dress thoughtfully and mindfully. I'm not going to dress like shit. Like it just.
You're talking to the right people.
Yo,
about that.
It's just like I can't. I see some people and I'm just like, what are you wearing? What are we doing? Why would you do that? It's just like,
what are we doing?
It's so simple. It's such a simple thing for me. I don't know, but
so you just mentioned someone coming into the space and like giving good energy and things like that. But what if the second shooter's an introvert? Doesn't have those extrovert characteristics. Like how do they fit in?
I mean, you could be in any energy and vibration you want to be in, as long as you're providing a thoughtful product and like you are grabbing those images that are required, that are essential. I gotta know. Be a joy ninja. You don't have to be outwardly
joy ninja.
Like that.
Yeah, like, that's me. I'll be in the back just like casually walking around, like, oh, smiles. Like, oh, I just feel like if I'm lax enough, people. The moments just show up around me. Yeah. If I'm lax enough, the moments just show up around me.
I heard an interesting analogy. I fell into a YouTube hole for the past like 2 weeks watching the Actors on Actors series.
The table
there's the one on the tables and there's one that's just like one-on-one where they basically take super famous actors and put them all around the table and just have them talk about stuff. And I'm trying to remember who said it, but I think it might have been Willem Dafoe. But he said the best piece of advice he ever got acting was, if you're nervous about your performance, think of it more as your job is to make the other actors look good. Yeah. And when you take it away from yourself and say like, I'm here to make this person look good. As a second shooter, I'm here to make this person as a lead look great. Yeah. And you were just saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, ding, ding, ding.
100%.
Like I actually really like that.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
I feel like you can use that principle in any type of way.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I'm nervous about this. Well, if I'm doing something for other people, like let's just make those people look good.
And it makes people respect you more too.
100%. Hey guys, it's Simon, just on here real quick to tell you a fun, quick little tip for staying in touch with either your second shooters or your team using nothing but your iPhone and AirPods. So we've all had this problem where one shooter's with the groom getting ready, one shooter's with the bride getting ready, and someone needs something and you call the other person, they don't hear their phone ring, you text the other person, they don't see the text till later. It's really annoying. So one solution to this problem is using two-ways or walkie-talkies or radios or whatever you want to call them. Magda and I tried this for a little while. You know, obviously you need to have some sort of earpiece and then you look like a secret agent. The wires get all tangled. Not a great experience overall. So we were looking for an option that didn't look as weird and also was super simple. So what we came up with was actually pretty simple. Whenever Magda and I are in different places or even on different parts of a reception space where we need to be able to talk to each other, we actually just connect our AirPods to our phone like normal, and then we actually call each other. Sounds pretty simple, but the great thing that AirPods have is a function where if you're wearing one of them and you click it during a call, it actually mutes your microphone. So during the call, we both have our microphone muted, and then if I need to talk to Magda, I can just unmute and immediately we're connected. It's a great way to stay in contact, and then when we're back together, you can just hang up the call. And if you have either an iPhone 15 or 16, the new chips in here actually use the most minimum amount of power for phone calls. And Magda and I, at our last wedding, were on a 30 to 40 minute phone call, and I barely noticed any battery drain at all. This is a great way to stay in touch. And the best part is, if you have more people you want to add to this, you can do a conference call with your second shooter, the video team, the planner if you want to, and everyone can just keep their microphones muted, kind of like a Zoom call, until you guys need to talk to each other. So thanks for watching. We're going to be back with a lot more little tips and fun things that we have going on in each episode. So back to you guys.
The other day, Simon and I were talking about like good experiences we've had at weddings and some shitty ones. Yeah. So
Do you have any, I don't want to necessarily hear like a horror story, but like, I'm sure you've had some experiences where you shoot and you're just like,
Yo, you can always be in a space with like, whatever you're shooting with and just be like, eyes.
Right.
Like, I don't know what's happening.
Wait, did you see that one thing I posted on Instagram?
yeah.
This is like,
I was like,
that's what we do. That's what we do. Like, we say so much just with the stare alone. But
My favorite look ever is like from behind the camera. Like you're like this, you just see like, well,
I'm all about like peeking my eye. I'll be
Yeah,
like, I don't know
you
what's
see that?
happening right now. This is absurd.
and this is why you want to work with a second shooter that you vibe with. Because then you
Exactly.
can have moments like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, tell me about some like what pops in your head when I say bad wedding experience?
I have at least two that I was just so taken back by. So first one is like a very short story. So I think
is this one of my weddings?
no. We have covered ones where it's been like, what is happening right now? We are 3 hours behind. I don't get it. What's going down? And it's raining outside. But yeah, like what I'm thinking about in particular is I was on a wedding and I think the bride's mom were at the reception or making cocktail, but she was requesting images from me. And like rather than just asking me directly, she was like snapping her fingers at me to take a photo. Like, get this, and the visceral energy in my body.
Would you say you were being treated like the help?
And like it was, and this has happened in a few weddings, like a handful of times, but this moment I was just like, no.
So you were being treated like a vendor.
Yo,
Okay.
I was just like, listen, that my name is Nick.
Interesting.
You could call me, you could say, excuse me. You can call me Mr. Photographer. And I think at that point I had just started wearing a name tag. I was like, and you can just call me by my name. And I was, and she completely ignored me, like washed it out, and was just like, get this, and just stood with her friends, took a picture, and was like done with it. But I made it a point to speak up in that moment, and I make it a point to speak up in a thoughtful way all the time. But like, yeah, it's just. It's all about the presentation of information for me. Like you present something in two different ways and people will receive it and take it in two different ways. So this other time we're shooting with another video team and oh my goodness, man. Like, so we're shooting, the flash is going off next to this main video guy and he's getting all huffy and puffy. And mind you, the other second videographer and me, we're on the other side doing our job, doing what we need to do. The reception is jumping. The party is so much fun. Like there are so many images to be captured at this point. Yeah. He beckons me to come outside with him. So
not the beckon.
I go outside with this cat and I'm just like, what's up, man? How you doing? He's just like, is this her first wedding? And I'm just like, whoa. And he's like, because her flash keeps going off in my face. And I don't like it, man. I don't like it. And I'm just like, whoa. I was like, what wedding have you not been to where you have not had flashes going off around you? Like, so why, 0 to 60.
Is this your first wedding, bro?
Yeah. I'm just like, and I think at one point he was like, if she doesn't stop that, I'm going to take the flash off her camera. And I very calmly just like got close to this guy. And I was like, you're not going to do nothing. You're not touching no equipment. You're not touching anything. If anything, adjust yourself, reacclimate, go to the other side. But right now, we're missing images inside right now because we're having this lame conversation. So I was like, let's go back inside now. And while we're going inside, I brush his camera. Like, I don't know, some gimbal system. And he stops, pauses, looks me up and down. It's just like, what you want to do? He thought I bumped him and like intentionally. And he was like, you want to do, and we're in the reception space now. People are jamming out. I was like, you think I'm going to fight you in the middle of this reception, bro? I remember this verbatim. I was like, go take your sensitive ass in that corner over there and like let that be it. I go to my
drink some water, bro.
Yo, yeah, I was like, you gotta chill out, man. It really, the transition was so visceral, and we were all here working as a team to make this thing happen, and like, there's no reason for us to be bumping heads right now. Like, we're all on the same. We're working for the same person,
same side, buddy.
Like,
same side.
How are we fighting like this right now? So intolerant of bullshit at weddings like that. Intolerant.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know, but like I'm starting to do like I'm starting to offer like mentorships on my like my platform. And one thing that I want to like teach newer photographers is the art of second shooting. So if you were to give a piece of advice to someone who wants to get into weddings, but doesn't want to book their own clients yet, but they want to get into second shooting and maybe work with other photographers. What's maybe 1 to 3 pieces of advice that you would give someone trying to do that?
Be malleable.
Ooh, I like that.
Be thoughtful in like your presentation. be mindful of like your time and their time. Like just offer up, like don't be obnoxious in terms of like just knocking on the door constantly. Like there's a way of casually offering like you're open and available for things, but just like just be respectful and just and keep that, and also be mindful in terms of how you're shooting and the angles you're capturing, and just like make sure you're offering as much sustenance when it comes to like images in general during actual day itself. So I think that's a really important thing. Like if you're doing one angle and it's just like, all right, let me see what he's doing. All right, I'm going to go over here. And then also asking the bride and groom, can you look over here for a second and then look back over there again? Earlier on in my career, I found that a lot of my images are just the couples like looking off to somewhere else. and at one point I was like, why am I not asking people to look at me? I just like ask, and then I have that photo, we have that angle, and then we're moving on. So it's just like, be open and be like, just be versatile in that space. And also make sure you have good equipment. Don't be coming out with them like TX Canon shenanigans. And I want a second shoot for it. No. Just get one good camera, one good, like at least 2 to 3 good lenses, and then like step into that space. So
actually, piggybacking off of that, because we talked a couple episodes together, if like we had to put together a minimum kit for a day, like or like someone's just starting out and buying camera equipment.
Yeah,
like,
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. So what would you say? Because we talked about for like lead shooting where you really need to be able to get everything.
Gear matters, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so judging by the... Guys, I flexed on the table today.
I promise I wouldn't tell Magda how much all that costs, but...
Jesus.
Yeah, we'll just say...
It's so beautiful.
Some people spend all their money on expensive watches that retain their value, and I go with Leica cameras.
Yeah.
But if you had, so as a second shooter, if someone is just starting out and they're like, I want to second shoot weddings, here's my stuff. What do you think the staples that a second shooter needs to have? Because I feel like they're kind of different than what a lead shooter would need to have, maybe and less stuff in a lot of situations. So like if you're telling someone who wants to shoot a wedding, like what are the 5 pieces of gear? Or it could be more if you think so. But like, what would you say?
Definitely main camera, definitely backup camera for sure. At least 2 flashes. I would say start out with 2 variable focus lenses, like 24 to 70, 70 to 200. Like those, like you're good in that space to start out. But later on, if you want to get some primes, a 50, a 35, a 135, like that, those are things you want to get down the road. But that right there is.
I think that's pretty much a similar thing to what we said too.
I think it's the kind of similar to all shooting. Like you just need the stuff just in case some shit goes down.
And I saw something interesting recently, which like, because I'm on YouTube all the time, and like the photography content on YouTube is hit or miss. But there's those videos that are like, what's the first prime lens you should get? Yeah. And I thought it was a kind of cool idea. If you shoot with any kind of zoom lens, like let's say your first camera, which like mine was a body and a 24 to 70, you could go on and look at metadata and all of the stuff you've shot at Lightroom, and it'll show you what focal lengths on that zoom you prefer. And like, I remember if I could have done that, it would probably be at that time like 50 millimeters.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
50s for sure.
Yeah.
Aunt got me to buy a 35.
Finally.
Resist. I was just like, you want me to rent one again, man?
I tell you, man, the trend is getting wider. I never thought I would own a 24.
The trend is getting wider. Yeah,
I shoot a lot with a 24 now.
Yeah, so nice. Like I ate my words. I literally remember I rented it and then I bought it and I texted immediately.
I remember that.
Honestly, though, like as a second shooter, if you're shooting with someone, because this is sort of how I shoot parts of the day with Magda. Magda is like a 50 girl all day.
It's a great lens.
35 is such a good complement to that because you can literally be standing next to the primary shooter, and you're going to get slightly different stuff.
100%. It's also be mindful of like what the 35 distance wise, it's not good for like far away shit. It's good for like we gotta be mindful. Like I've definitely had moments where I've shot with that lens and I'm like, I thought this would be tight, but it's like I'm like further away, and I noticed my 50 is able to pick it up way better than that. And so it's just being mindful of like what the space in which you're.
So as you shoot more, you get more sort of cognizant of like, oh, this is what. Like standing here, this is a lens, which I think
absolutely. And also looking at other people's work and being like, what lenses are you using?
Yeah, man.
So wait, to feed off of what I mentioned earlier about pieces of advice for new shooters. Now, if you were to wipe off all the experience you have right now, kind of just literally walk us through a step-by-step briefly, how you would go back into being a second shooter. What is the step-by-step you would follow?
I feel like I would go online and find photographers in whatever area I was in and be like, I love this person's work. Let me offer my services. But I also think I would also be marketing to do my own stuff.
Okay.
I mean,
but let's say you didn't have a portfolio.
Exactly. So it's just like one of those things. Like I think I would start there. Like flat out. Like I would reach out to photographers, email, maybe see if I could third shoot with anyone, offer my assistance in that way, rather than trying to get like pay work. But you're definitely in those spaces when like you're looking to have this be your main bread and butter. It's really hard to like all right, how can I balance this and also do this? So yeah, I think I would start there first and foremost.
So basically, it's okay to do like free work from the beginning.
Absolutely. Like, third shoot for a wedding. Like I will show up. I will get these images and this. I would love to absorb, but also you want to make sure like you're showing up in a thoughtful way. You want to make sure like your cup is full. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that people you're offering your service to, they can hopefully show up in a thoughtful way. But it's all about any relating that you do. It's all about weeding the garden because like there's some interactions that are just not going to be fruitful. They may be in a certain capacity, but for me, it's all about heart connections and with people that I'm working with. All about heart connections. Like so,
love you, bro.
I want to work. I love you too, man. I love you too, man. I was like with Anthony, like just working with Anthony and like just starting to work with him. Like it just like not working with someone that looks like me. Man, I tell you, I was
game
like,
changer.
This is where I want to be. And I was just like, hey, like, word of dates, bro. Like, I want to work with you. Like, seriously, this feeds my heart to work with good people who are talented.
All right. So all of us have had stories where, when we were first started in the wedding industry, we've made mistakes. Everyone has. If they say they haven't, they're lying.
I've never made a mistake. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, all right.
He's never made a mistake like the time we recorded a whole podcast and he had changed the frame rate on one of the cameras and forgot about it. Yeah, never made a mistake ever.
That's not true. Or the time, my co-host thought we were recording and we weren't.
One time. That happened one time. One time.
You're like, those are such good dates.
Exactly.
You know what the worst part is? I've said this like a bunch of times now. We recorded a bunch of episodes when we first had this idea, and we did it in the middle of wedding season. So like we didn't have time to edit it, and then we were like, all right, we should get on this, and we started editing. We're like, this content is so like not applicable anymore, but the content was so good.
But just practice
because we were so excited about doing it.
It was just
like,
practice, man.
Practice runs. Okay, so in that vein of making mistakes, what is one mistake you think you've made as a second shooter that it happened and you will never make it again?
Oh my goodness, I feel like not a mistake necessarily, but just learning and learning how I want to be acknowledged at a wedding, and that's the origins of my name tag. Like I've worn a name tag for like every event I've covered, and people always comment on it, and it's like, I love that, man. Like, what's your name? I
like that idea. Yeah.
I just hold it up and it's like right there. I've even spent like cocktail hours not speaking at all, and just like if it's super loud, I'll just be like. And it's like just gesturing, and the people all they get it.
Everyone knows the grip and grin gesture.
Yeah, exactly. Like you too. I'll basically point, and I'll bring my hands together. I'm just like, get together, guys. Just go.
They understand it though, which is
great.
Yeah.
It's automatic. But in terms of like anything bigger than that, like I feel like I've just always have had stuff in my toolkit ready to go. There have been moments where there was a moment where we were shooting and like my shutter just like flunked out on me.
Oh, I remember
and
that.
I had to go get my other camera, but I was got it. I'll be right back.
Played off cool though.
I was like, I'll be right back.
Wait, hold up. That happened when we shot together too. Something happened with your camera.
Oh my God, it was on timer. My camera was on timer, and I was just like, hey, Simon, check that out for a second.
Yeah.
I was like,
like you were super calm and collected about it. Yeah. And I'm like, you good? And you're like, my camera's fucked.
I was freaking out, man. Internally, I was internally imploding. But like, just like small things like that. Like I can't. That happened. Now I'm very clear what my settings are on my camera.
So what Nick's saying is he doesn't make mistakes. That's what he's trying to tell us.
I show up dope for my events, man.
Okay, hold on. Like I said,
I'm fancy, bro.
This is the Unfiltered podcast. Tell us something good, bro. In the beginning of your career, you fucked up really bad. What was it?
Okay. Here's one. We'll find something. I shot a ceremony and I literally deleted like half of it, and I was second shooting for like a friend of mine.
Oh,
and I didn't
during
know
the ceremony?
Not during the ceremony, like delivering files and like delivering files. I was just like, wait, where are the rest of these images? And it was his sister's wedding. I thank goodness we both were shooting, but still, I felt. I was like,
did you have 2 cards in the camera?
No, I think this is like I think I was shooting with like a Mark II, and it had one card slot, one compact flash card, and that was it. And I was just like, I thought I copied them over, and I didn't, and I just completely.
I feel like that's every photographer's nightmare.
Oh, it is. That's also the reason I started shooting with this again. I was like worried about the 1 card slot. I'm like, I shot for how many years with 1 card slot before there were 2 card slots?
Terrifying.
We are dating ourselves right now. But
I'm sorry. Back in the day, Blockbuster days, bro. I'm sorry. We got
the Wild West, man. Is there going to be files on this card? I don't know.
Things have come so far, so I'm just
crazy.
So over the moon. I'm so glad this guy over here is shooting over 2500 ISO. Like, finally. He told me that. I was just like, chills, bro. Oh my God. That's awesome.
I finally did like a camera test to see like, all right, where do the colors start breaking down on this camera?
Where's yours?
4,000.
Yeah.
But we have our A7 R5s, so they're like 60 megapixels. We don't shoot them at 60 megapixels,
oh my God.
But they still have those. So like 4,000 is when, if there's like shitty light, 4,000 is like, as soon as 4,000 happens, like add light.
That's it. Done and done.
What are yours at? Do you know?
I would say probably the same.
Yeah.
Probably the same.
Everyone has a different tolerance for how much to do. But like
before,
I don't mind noise. Noise is fine.
Yeah.
Because you can either fix that or it's just add a little grain over top of it. But as soon
even
as
though the fixing, bro, like it looks weird.
Yeah.
If there's not good quality light, if there's good quality light, it's just dim. You can fix it. If it's not good quality light, it's crap. But also, the thing that looks bad is when the colors start getting muddy. Yeah. And then I'm like, nah, we're done. So
what? Why is this a real thing?
Let's talk about that.
Do you want to do it on the air?
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
We weren't going to talk about this, but we're going to talk about it.
So we did an episode last week talking about should wedding photographers be considered as vendors?
Yeah.
And
my hot take was no.
Yeah. And I kind of agree with Simon, but at the same time it doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But Simon feels like if you're considered sort of a vendor, it sort of correlates with being like help.
I think I just don't like the term. What was that? Someone commented on it and they said vendors sell hot dogs. And I'm like,
I agreed with that. I was like, you might be right.
It's true.
I like wedding professionals. I like that kind of stuff. I think, and it's splitting hairs here. And like, it doesn't offend me being called a vendor. I'm just like, do we have a better term for this? I don't know.
I don't mind it that much at all.
So there's a popular podcast that we won't name names, but they, I guess they disagreed with that perspective. And I understand why. Yeah. Very much, but I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, because I mean, they kind of felt like they thought it was stupid that we said that.
Now, granted, this was on their Facebook group from an anonymous member.
Right. And it's funny because someone that follows them sent me a screenshot and I sent it to Simon. Simon was like, Simon went off. He was like, wait, what?
That's good publicity, yo.
That was another one of those, wait, people are watching this?
Yes.
Like, people give a shit?
That's
like,
good publicity.
And the other thing is, like, Ant and I aren't on Facebook because things like this always, like, I don't want to be scrolling through this. I'm not all about it. So we didn't even see it, but someone sent it to you.
Right.
And so I saw it, so.
So I guess, Nick, do you think it's weird to be called a vendor on a wedding day?
I don't think it's weird at all.
Okay.
For me personally, collectively, we are one organism providing a service to these people. We want to make sure this system is chiming, is flowing as best as possible. We're all playing our parts. Like, I don't mind.
Would you say the photographer is the mitochondria? The powerhouse
I was
of the cell.
just thinking that. Oh my God.
Absolutely not.
You just filled it in there, man.
Yeah. And I wanted to give an addendum to that whole statement too. Is that like I'm not one of those people who's like thinks like photographers are like rock stars or anything like that. Like
we are though.
Like
I mean,
the response I get.
We basically hold up the whole show.
In certain situations, yes.
Most situations.
Sometimes.
Let's be real.
But it can get taken out of context, and it does. It just is like, So.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying, though. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. And a different term would be nice.
Yeah.
But I don't really think about it that much.
And I'm going to ask people this because I read that, and obviously, like our opinions of ourselves are based on other people's opinions sometimes, which I wish they weren't, but everyone, So I'm like, wait, am I wrong? Like, do I sound like an asshole? Like, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole.
You think the way you think. People responded to it. I mean, anything that we create in this world is going to have someone going to say something about the thing. Like, it's just, that's a given. Doesn't matter how good it is. Someone going to find, you know what? I don't like how the lighting hitting that. Someone's going to find something to say about it.
And I did realize too, you know where else that comes from? Like, because you've worked on, bigger sets that aren't weddings and like, so have I. And it's like, who's the vendor? Craft services.
Yeah.
Crafty is the vendor. And I'm like, I'm not, I'm not doing that.
I'm not craft services, but I value craft services being there though, because I'm hungry.
But I did want to bring up, you, in addition to being a wedding photographer, do a lot of other stuff in the photo industry. And when was that show that I went to?
August 15th.
Over the summer, yeah. The day before my birthday.
I think it was.
Right.
Oh, word.
But it was a great turnout too.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was so
and that band you had? Dude.
Wait, so you tell us some more about that project and maybe some other projects.
Yeah. So that was my first gallery show, and that whole show was based around historical reenactors. We're
gonna flash some of those images up.
Oh, sweet! Just the images from that. I think over 3 or 4 years is what I captured for those. Like off and on. Like I think collectively that's how much time I went into it. But these little sessions were probably like 15 to 10 minutes long. You go to these events, people are decked out in outfits and clothing, and like the production. I mainly wanted to start doing it. I wanted a personal project, and then go into these things. I was just like, oh wow, like I don't have to bring a lot of equipment to this. I can just show up and figure it out and have setups that people can drop folks into, and everyone wants to be photographed in their garbs and their outfits and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
That's where it started, and I just kind of like hoarded those images for a long time. I was like, I gotta pay some bills, so I did that, and then I think collectively, I just got just hungry for just wanting to have my own show at a certain point, and so
did you interview these people?
No, when I start doing it again, I'm gonna definitely start asking more questions. At that point, I was just like, "Hi, how you doing? In camera? Snap, get out of here!" And like they would just move on.
You know what I do have to say though is that I think it'd be cool to interview them, but sort of not knowing the backstory of those images, it's kind of like just like wondering because you look at those people and like where did you come from? Like why are you into this?
Like even just asking like what do you do when you're not doing this?
I'm trying to remember. There was one specific one. Like I think it was an old black guy with I think he was in Union. Stuff with the rifle.
I ran into that guy at a wedding. Union League. He was like him and like his reenactors were just walking around the space. I think they were there for a purpose, but I was like, bro, I have a photo of you on my wall. But yeah, that's one of my favorite shots.
Oh wait, you had a photo of him before he. Oh wow, that's cool.
But that was the one I was like, who is this guy? Like that was like the real like. But I thought part of that was part of the thing that drew me into it, like not knowing. Yeah. So you can go either way with that. But
I want to do a book.
Wait, and the best thing is like I've been to gallery shows before, and like I'm expecting we walk in, we get a plastic cup of wine, we walk around, see the images. I get to talk to Nick and stuff like. I get there's a full band playing. Yep. Everyone's sitting down eating charcuterie.
We had like charcuterie,
and then you just had like 4 boxes of wine like stacked up, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Like we had all the treats, dope, man.
I love that.
That was so much fun. And you showing up, I was just like, what?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so much fun.
I was so surprised.
And then everyone I met, they were super cool too. So support local arts, go to gallery shows, they're fun.
Please. It was a labor of love. Me and my friend that was doing music there, I was like, I need to culminate and come together. He asked me originally if I wanted to collaborate. And I was like, nah. I was like, I don't want to collaborate. I want to do my own show. It's going to be my own stuff. And then slowly I was just like, what am I talking about? Like, it'd be nice to have someone kind of hold that weight for you. And also just being in community in general, like what support that offers, it just like opens you up to do more things. So right now I'm currently stepping into that space and also trying to work on my own stuff.
And music and photography go together.
They really do.
So I know you also have a podcast with your wife, right?
Yeah, right now that's on pause, but it's called Kitchen Table. And it's basically relationships and like human dynamics and essentially, being polyamorous and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's a fun show. Like, we're going to start it back up pretty soon. Okay. But so many just thoughtful humans and so many great conversations. I could literally go off on relationship dynamics like for like hours.
Yeah.
Like I love just talking about that stuff. It's so good.
Can we use you for couples therapy? And Maggie and I just come on this.
Yes. And I will also suggest you watch that show, Couples Therapy. I'm telling you.
No, I love it. So Maggie and I went on a Friends
good.
podcast years ago, and it was so much fun. Because like when you have a mic in front of you, it's
You
it's
act different.
Yeah,
you act different, but like
I'm trying to show thought about that. Yeah, right.
But I feel
my voice is getting deeper.
But I feel like in a more open way a lot of the
Oh,
times because
yeah.
it's like you're not going to be like I don't want to answer that.
Nah,
it's like,
you have to.
You gotta answer it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I love
fruit.
it.
It's fruit.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So, bro, before we let you go,
Oh,
we
yeah.
do this at the end of each episode.
What's up? What we got?
A hot button topic.
Ooh.
So, I mean, Simon and I feel like we both have experienced this sort of topic
Yeah.
in terms of deciding what to do when this situation comes up.
Oh, what is it?
Are you ready, bro?
Oh, I'm right. Go
You
for
ready?
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think that second shooters should be allowed to use images that they've shot from a wedding that wasn't theirs in their portfolio and start to advertise and promote their business through that portfolio?
Ooh, I like this. I would say yes.
Okay.
But not without checking in and not without being like, these are the photos I would like to use. Is this okay with you?
So what if the photographer says, no, I don't want you to use them?
Got it. Done.
Done.
I won't.
There should be no pushback.
I won't use those photos, but also starting out early on, that question being asked is a really important question to ask, to inquire about. Because if you're building up work and you want to get more work, like it's just like you can't work without the examples of your work. But also, you can just show stuff privately as well too. So you can't don't do it publicly, but just be like, all right, these are examples of my work. They don't have my page because I don't have permission to use them. But like this is what my work looks like. So. Yeah, I think it's okay.
Now, I'm going to add on to that because the thing I've seen, like, I think that's great. But the thing I've seen where I'm kind of like, that's a little fucked up is like, if you take the actual like delivered images, as in that photographer's edit, I think that's where it gets a little sketchy.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, you like, if that photographer is using you or as a second images, that's awesome. That means they like what you did, whatever. But then to take their editing skill, I feel like what a lot of people don't understand is like the skill from capture to delivery is very much a whole nother set of skills that you have to have. Trust me, I just went back through my Instagram catalog from 2016. Shit is rough. But I think that, what do you think about if you were going to do that or a second shooter was going to do that? I feel strongly that they should edit the photo themselves.
110%. Like, I don't think I've even encountered a situation where I was like, yeah, they didn't let me use those photos because it was their, like, I don't think I've even encountered that before. But if someone did that, it would just feel strange.
Because I've encountered
It
in
would
the
feel really,
past.
really strange.
I've encountered in the past where second shooters will post images from my wedding before I even deliver the gallery to the client.
Yeah.
So like, how do you handle that? How do you handle a situation like that?
That could be real clean. You could just like, hey, I see you sharing these images, but could you take these down? And later on, check in with me about what you would like to share. Like just having some stipulation of being like, all right, like you're shooting this with me, but also I require you to not just like,
damn, Nick is a nice ass guy.
Like, it's like, I'm sorry, I can't be nasty. It's just this is a way of asking people to do things for you without being like dickish. It's okay for you to be leaning to like your confidence and like your assertiveness, but I could say this to you two different ways, and you have two options of receiving it. Actually, multiple ways of receiving it. But if I'm soft and like just like, hey, I smile while I'm telling you this, and be like, I really appreciate it, man. But listen, like,
do you sign a second shooter contract with people?
I do. For my main studio that I work with.
I just remembered because like obviously we don't use second shooters a lot, but the year we did was 2021 when we were covering a lot of weddings that got postponed and stuff. And I was working with so many second shooters that came with good referrals, but I'd never worked with before. Yeah. So we drafted up, and that was like one of the big sections of the contract was the ability to use and share images, and like that was a part of it, which I totally forgot about like releasing it before we give like even a sneak peek. It's
and I have no problem with second shooters using images for their portfolio growth, but like you just said, not before I deliver it to the client. Like, because then now they're going to edit it in their own way. Then the client might see it on their Instagram. And then maybe I didn't include some of those images they decided to use. Now the client's gonna be like, oh my God, like I just saw this image on your shooter's page. Why didn't you include that in the gallery?
Yeah.
It just creates so much drama.
And that sort of goes along with the whole like when clients slap a filter on your photo before they put it on Instagram.
Exactly.
Which is also in our contract.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate that so
That's a whole
much.
other discussion, though.
Yeah.
It really is. Like,
Yeah.
don't retouch my retouching. Like, I spent time on that shit, yo. For real. Like, for real. This is the way it should look. Don't touch it. Like,
Cool.
People do.
Well, dude, this was awesome.
Love this, man.
Yeah,
Like,
bro. Thanks,
seriously.
bro.
Guess two. So we're gonna put all of Nick's social and all of your info in the
Thank
thing
you so much.
down here. I've always wanted to do that. Down here, Lincoln.
Not
It's not Lincoln bio. Yeah. What do you do? Oh, smash that like and subscribe button.
I'll just aim above me.
On that note,
All right, man.
peace.
Peace. Boop. Wait, look at that camera. Do peace.
Peace.
Bring it,